Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to a special edition of Triad Today. Over the next half hour, our guest will be Pat McCrory, former 7-term mayor of Charlotte and 2008 Republican nominee for governor. We'll be covering a wide range of topics, including taxes, jobs, politics, economic development, and much more. And we welcome officially to the show once again, Pat McCrory. How you doing, sir?
It's great to be back, Jim. We've both gotten a little older since the last time we talked.
You not as much as
more
me.
Wisdom now.
Yeah, that's right. Here, let's talk taxes first.
Sure.
This one gets me. The GOP-led House in Raleigh recently passed a law which allowed multi-state corporations located in North Carolina to pay their state taxes in any state they choose, Walmart, Home Depot, whatever. This is the same party that's been complaining that we need to cut spending and raise revenues. My question is, are your friends in Raleigh and the GOP using drugs or just some sort of new math?
I don't think they're using drugs. I think what they're attempting to do is be more business friendly, but I think it's a fair question to ask, are you diverting revenue that we desperately need to other states? And I don't know the specific details of that legislation, what it would do and how it was argued, and I assume the governor also signed that legislation.
The governor signed it, and that gets me too. So it's like a bipartisan screw up. And the thing is, the North Carolina Department of Revenue, as you know, I mean,
sure.
They said, look, you're going to lose $500 million initially, almost $197 million every year thereafter. Can't you reconsider this? And they said, well, we'll tweak it before it goes into effect.
And I think that's the problem with some legislation that was passed and signed by the governor, was that you should never pass legislation that has to be tweaked at a later point. And I look forward to reviewing all that legislation. This is where some of the hypocrisy is. Just last week, the governor was bragging about the tax-free holiday of sales tax,
right.
But it was just 5 weeks ago or so in which she was arguing for an increase in the sales tax.
Yeah.
You know, which one do you want?
Well, but
we need to give a consistent message in North Carolina about what our tax policy is. And I've been very consistent since I ran for governor, where I, for example, said if I could cut any tax right now, it would not be the sales tax, it would be the income tax. Because it's the income tax that small businesses have to pay and the entrepreneurs have to pay. And when you even have success, what's happened is a lot of the entrepreneurs are moving to Florida or to Tennessee or even across the border of South Carolina.
And very quickly on this last point, just to stay with it, and you mentioned small businesses, they're the ones that are paying these taxes where the multi-state corporations are not going to pay any under this bill. So when you go out and see people and do speaking engagements and a small businessman comes up and says, this is just ridiculous, it gives them an unfair advantage.
And this is where, I'm looking for the next Bill Gates who starts a small business and grows it, because that's the way we're going to rebuild our economy. Is look for the entrepreneur who's going to engage in a new business model and compete against not only the rest of the United States, but the rest of the world.
Let's talk about taxes and teacher layoffs and effects of that. This 1 cent sales tax that could have been extended, that was temporary.
Sure.
They voted not to extend it. Teachers are being laid off around the state. Charlotte escaped. It could have been a lot worse down in there in your home city, but a lot of places are hurting because of this. Didn't it make sense just to extend that sales tax for another year and get us over a hump?
No, it didn't for this reason, because a promise was made both by the governor and the legislature when they passed that tax to say it will be a temporary tax. And if we say something to people saying we're going to have a temporary tax, then it should be, and they ought to stop it. And so the legislature fulfilled their promise. The governor, again, broke a promise after only a year and a half. And I also want to say, I think there was a little cry wolf in how much impact the budget that was passed, because the governor's budget and the legislative budget was less than 2% difference. And in fact, the legislature budget that the governor vetoed had more money in the budget than last year's budget and more money than Purdue's budget for K through 12. So I think I'm now looking at a lot of counties, including Mecklenburg County, who all of a sudden going, well, we're not laying off the teachers we thought we were.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be very careful in government to say, you know, cry wolf and say we're going to have this tremendous impact when in fact there is a lot of hidden money out there.
Give me 30 seconds on this. Should we have some kind of a rainy day fund like some other states do for these tough times? Absolutely.
In fact, as a mayor for 14 years, I had a huge rainy day fund that I refused to be rated. And that's why the current mayor, Charlotte's not in that much difficulty, because I never rated the rainy day fund.
Excellent. I tell you.
And we kept building it. And a lot of people wanted to get to the $18 million that we had in rainy day funds, and I refused to touch it.
Good, good. That was a good decision. We're going to go to break, come back, and we're going to talk about some other topics with Pat McCrory. We'll be right back.